Is the 614 right for you? Listen, you've heard me talk a lot about the 614, about Columbus, and honestly, I think my opinion is for certain. I love it here, but it's not just me that you're listening from today. You're listening to a guy that's lived here his entire life, gone to the east side, gone south, and came back. This guy also has 90,000 followers on IG. His opinion matters, and we're going to be listening to him right now. Mitch, thank you for being here, brother.
Absolutely, thank you for having me.
The people of Columbus, the people moving to Columbus, they want to know, why CBUS and why now?
Why CBUS? Columbus is the heart of it all. I know they say Ohio is the heart of it all, but it really is Columbus. You're in the middle of the state. You're 2 hours from Cleveland, you're 2 hours from Cincinnati, and you have it all going on here, all the growth, and anything that you want to find can be found right here.
I love that, dude. How long have you been in Columbus? Let's hear your story about it.
Yes, for sure. So Columbus, born and raised, just outside of the city in Worthington, about 15 minutes north of downtown. And I lived here until I was 22, went to Ohio State, moved to Florida for about 2 years, and then ended up coming back, and I've been here since summer of 2020.
It's a good spot to be. Obviously, you've experienced, right? I am not a native. I came here a few years ago with my family. What would you say is the biggest growth or the biggest shift that you've noticed with Columbus kind of as a whole?
Just the amount of people.
I was gonna say.
Honestly, yeah, the amount of people. I know growing up, I was always aware of things. I was a kid that was, hyper-focused and kind of took everything in with, observations. And Columbus had people, but it used to be, even before I was born, my dad moved here in the early 90s. It was a cow town. Outside of downtown, you could throw a rock and pretty much hit a farm from any which direction of where we stand right here. And throughout my life of just watching the neighborhoods continue to grow and grow and grow, and especially north of downtown, it's just like Columbus is connecting to Delaware, Columbus is connecting to Marysville, which there used to be a very distinct disconnect between those locations, and now it's kind of all one.
Do you think that has to do with like the $8 billion project that ODOT has? They're trying to connect all of these, like I-70, I-71, they're working on State Road 290, like the whole shebang.
No, absolutely. I think they've done a pretty solid job. I know a lot of people like to kind of diss them in terms of city planning and not really getting ready for the growth of the city over the last 20 years. But you have to give them credit because...
I mean, how were they gonna know, right?
Yeah, they've put, they're putting, you gotta follow the money. So the money is going where it should, and you just got to give it time for everything to kind of catch up with the population and how fast it is growing.
Where do you think it's growing the most? Because obviously as a realtor, right, like we're putting up, I don't want to say putting, but a lot of individuals are going to the suburban areas. So take Dublin, New Albany. Bexley's been kind of a big one. I was a little surprised. But from your perspective, where do you think a lot of your friends are transiting to that aren't moving out of Columbus? Where are the people that are reaching out to you kind of going?
Definitely north of the city.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, north of the city. So you have, Worthington, but then north of Worthington, you have Lewis Center. And Lewis Center is growing massively all the way to Delaware. And then, yes, you have Dublin, and it continues to grow all the way to Marysville. So the northern end of the city, the northern suburbs, they have the land. They had the farms that have sold to developers. Yeah. And those are now getting developed. So anywhere north, you're gonna be in a prime hotspot with just a lot going on all the time.
What are you thinking about the schoolings, right? A lot of our clients that are reaching out to us, they're families, they're expecting children, they've got children, and they're debating, hey, do I wanna go here, do I wanna go there? So from a schooling perspective, because I can't really talk about it as a realtor, right? But in your opinion, where would you kind of say is the locations to kind of look at more than anything else?
So honestly, I think with the Columbus suburbs, you can't go wrong. They're all blue ribbon school districts.
Yeah, for sure.
They're all nationally known. Worthington is great. Olentangy continues to grow because that's, a mixture of Dublin and Powell and Lewis Center, and their schools are great. Dublin's great. Upper Arlington is great. Like, you look at any of the Columbus suburbs and the school districts, I think you can't go wrong where you choose for your kids.
Thank you. I can't say that, so.
No, yeah, it's my honest opinion. Listen, I'm from Worthington, so I'm a little biased. And also I can speak from the experience of my sister. My sister has Down syndrome, so she went through special education, and that was a big thing for my parents, was to find a school district where special education was key. and Worthington does a great job with it, but not to say that the other ones don't.
Yeah.
So if you're a family, you're going to a Columbus suburb, a school district, I don't think there's a wrong one to choose. And then if you want to have the option to go private, Columbus has great private schools as well.
That's what I've noticed too, is like, it's not just one facet, it's not singular, right? It's kind of multifaceted in the sense of like, you don't necessarily have to worry about schooling. You kind of have to worry about other things like price point, amenities, food, hospitals, and things like that. Obviously, one of the big things that I like is the fact that our hospital scenes are really growing.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah, no, hospitals here. I mean, just right now off of Sawmill, the Mount Carmel is getting finished. Ohio State continues to grow massively with the Wexner Center, and Riverside is growing. You have up in Powell off the Sawmill Parkway, you have another Ohio State facility going up. So in terms of hospitals, because the population is growing, that's a big thing. You're going to be taken care of medically here.
Absolutely.
Because there's so many options and there is a lot of money here with the medical side of things.
I tell everyone that too as well, right? Because a lot of the people that are moving here, the safety aspect of it from really to a hospital is really important, right? When you have kids, you have elderly parents, maybe just yourself, you're looking to be somewhere where it's like, I want to be okay. I want to know there's a hospital 10, 15, 20 minutes away from me. And obviously I want the schools to be good too. A lot of our clients that are reaching out, they are looking for properties as well. In terms of the best bang for your buck, in your opinion, again, I can't speak too heavily about this. What would you say is a location where people have to start looking at?
I mean, if you want to continue, no. So like Worthington's landlocked.
Yeah, I know.
So there's not much new development going on in Worthington. But if you want to get the best bang for the buck, you're probably going to continue to go north because you're getting further away from the downtown area and you can build bigger and your dollar stretches farther.
What do you think about places maybe like Pickerton, Pataskala, Canal Winchester? Because there's a lot of development happening there too.
Yes, and that's been more recently.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about the Dublins all the way to the Marysville, the Lewis Center to the Delaware, but it's a great place to look is Pickerington, Canal Winchester,
For sure.
Even Reynoldsburg and places from that side. So it's just all over, you're seeing it. And if you get further away, your dollar stretches.
Let's talk about traffic, dude. I mean, that's the one catch that I think a lot of people, especially since coming here, because I'm from Rochester, right? We didn't have traffic. I visited Seattle, I visited Miami. You lived in Miami, so you know. I wouldn't say it's as bad here, but it's kind of bad.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of the times people love to hate on the traffic in Columbus. People love to hate in general, right? So it's something that is, a massive topic of discussion.
Could be a motto right there.
But for the most part, if you're not driving during rush hour, let's say that 8 to 10 a.m. window in the morning, let's say the 3 to 6 window in the afternoon, you can pretty much get anywhere you want in that, 15 to 30 minute time range. Now, if you're driving in those times, you do have to plan for it, and especially if an accident happens that's anywhere, you might stretch that 25-minute commute to a 45-minute commute.
And I think, because we were just at a showing in Pickerton and then we came there from here, really no traffic. Because we're also in a Monday, right? So we're here at 12:30, that's when we're sweating like...
Yeah, it's the hottest day of the year.
But really nothing crazy. So like obviously plan that. And I think combining with that, a lot of people that are moving to and coming to Ohio and Columbus, they're getting remote jobs. So they don't need to be in these massive skyscrapers. And I want you to talk a little about the development, man, and kind of what you're seeing from a job growth perspective as well.
So I know at Ohio State, and my friends who, all graduated from Ohio State, they all stayed here. And I had friends that came from Cleveland, from Cincinnati, and friends that came from out of state to come here to school. They all stayed in Columbus. So that's one reason why the city continues to grow. But like you said, remote. So before COVID, traffic was worse, even with the population not being what it is now. And that's only a 5-year time span. Now, with the remote jobs and people being hybrid or
Cyber, no. Remote, no.
Hybrid.
I know what you're talking about. I know what the word is. I can't think of the word either. What's the word?
It's both.
Hybrid.
Hybrid. Like a Toyota Prius.
There you go.
Hybrid.
Those have cars too.
Yeah, they get their gas mileage. No, but with people being hybrid, you will notice if you're driving during those rush hour times, there's certain days that are worse than others. And I think it's because maybe people only go to the office twice a week now or 3 times a week and not all 5 days.
That's an amazing perspective. I didn't think about that either. Now, if we're talking about kind of like the surrounding traffic area, right? We talked about this off camera, but 270, it's the outer belt.
Right.
Right. What are the major things that you got to know about? Because I tell all the consumers, all the people, all the clients that are moving here, I-70, I-71, and 270. If you can stay out of those, you're good.
Yeah, and you can find alternative routes.
I was gonna say there's little gateways.
There's, especially being here, kind of like, you know, I don't even know the name a lot of the roads. It's just like I watched my parents do it when I was a kid, and now that I'm driving, I took up those alternative routes. But you can get around 270 without getting on 270.
Absolutely.
And if you get on 270, there's places like the Worthington interchange where 270 splits to 71 North and 71 South. Yeah. Those are areas that you know are going to be backed up almost all times of the day.
I love that. Now let's talk about food, dude, because that's kind of my thing. I'm a big Reynoldsburg guy. I think that has the best Nepali food. By far. I'll take that, right? Momo House is really good in North Market over there. Best food spot. Let's go tacos first, and then we'll go Italian, the whole shebang. Tacos. Best taco spots.
So I love Condado's in the Short North, and then I also love the local cantinas. And there's several around Upper Arlington, Dublin. Yeah. But and then there's really good authentic tacos. El Mocahati in Lewis Center. It's family owned and operated. And I think, personally, it's the best Mexican that I've found in the area.
What's that one that just opened up? I can't think of the name. Meiji, you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
We'll put it on screen here. I can't think of the name. Best tacos, we got that. Best Italian food.
Best Italian food.
We'll go pasta first and then pizza next.
Okay, that's tough. In terms of pasta, like Cameron Mitchell's has,
for sure.
They have good Italian restaurants. Marcella's is a very popular spot here in the Short North. The Victoria in Powell, actually, I believe has the best chicken parm in the city of Columbus. I will say it's a little bit tough when you get to like those authentic mom and pop shops, but pizza, I can talk on pizza. Okay. My favorite is Sexton's.
Okay.
I don't know if you have seen One Bite, Dave Portnoy?
I have.
Okay, so Dave Portnoy came to Sexton's, the Hilliard location, within the last 2 years, and I believe it has the highest One Bite rating in the city of Columbus. It's New York style. I've had it. It is my favorite if I'm looking for a New York pie, but you also can't sleep on the Columbus style pizza, the squares, typical Donatos. I am a big fan of.
That's awesome, dude. I mean, you know, obviously you've got Mexican food, you've got Italian food too. Let's talk about Chinese. What's your favorite Chinese spot?
Mine is Ming Flower. It's a small spot located up in the Polaris area. I think they have the best hot and sour soup in the city, and you can't go wrong with any of their dishes.
The one hidden gem.
The one hidden gem.
One spot where it's like you got to try this regardless of what you like.
For food, Kitchen Social.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of people do talk about it. They started out in Polaris. They now have 2 locations here in Columbus. Sweet. They have 2 in Cleveland and 1 in Cincinnati. Okay. But they all started here in the Polaris area. And their menu, you can pretty much get whatever you want on it. It's very fairly priced in terms of it being, it's affordable. Yeah. Like they do a great job at making it affordable. I've talked to their head chef. They really want it to be like a family oriented place where you're not gonna go drop, you know, a good amount of money on a dinner. Yeah. They want you to come out, have a good time. And every dish that they have on the menu truly does taste wonderful, and I've tried them all.
I forgot the place's name, but it was ranked the #1 steak in the entire country. I made a post about it on my Instagram. People got really fucking pissed.
Was it Jeff Ruby's?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
Yeah, it might have been Jeff Ruby's. Jeff Ruby's is it's a popular steakhouse here in Columbus. Their steaks and their seafood, it always hits. Their sushi rolls, I think there might be the best sushi rolls in the city. Or it could have been Hyde Park. Hyde Park right here, into the Short North, into the downtown area. Hyde Park, phenomenal steak as well.
I love that. Okay, let's get walking as well. Now, obviously we're talking about food, we're talking about amenities, we're talking about all there is to do, right? One of the biggest things that I think a lot of people tell me is hey, what is there to do? And obviously I tell them the Columbus Zoo, you got Hawkins Hill not too far away, but as a local that's lived here for a while, what would you say is some, you know, family activities that people can really go ahead and indulge themselves in?
Yeah, I mean, we're right by Kosai, so I have to mention Kosai.
Absolutely.
Kosai is a great place to get out with the kids, and then even the adults get to Kosai with, I think once a month, they do Kosai After Dark, and you can buy tickets. It's a great time, have some drinks, get some food. So can't sleep on Kosai. Other things to do, I mean, it's a lot of seasonal things.
Yeah.
But you do have the Franklin Park Conservatory, which is also a great spot. Like you said, the zoo, Hocking Hills. You want to go north to Mohican State Park. It's slept on. Everybody goes to Hocking Hills, but you can go and get some really good trails, and you can do some really good kayaking, paddleboarding, small boating, camping up in Mohican State Park. It's only about an hour north of the city. And then the seasonal things, the Ohio State Fair is nationally known, one of the best fairs in the country. And I mean, in terms of the seasonal things, the pumpkin patches around here in the fall are great. The Christmas lights are phenomenal, continues to grow every year. The spring has a lot of metro parks where the flowers pop and you got the colors. And then in the summertime, a lot of people don't know, but right here on the South Mile, you can rent and paddleboard and kayak. I think they do it 5 days out of the week, but Saturday and Sunday gets pretty busy. And it's always a fun time to have the city skyline and to be on the water.
I've never gone paddleboarding before.
You can also boat in Columbus. The Scioto River, kind of the Dublin Hilliard area. You can wakeboard, water ski, and wake surf. I was on the OSU wakeboard team. I was in the club, and we would get out on the river, you know, a couple times of the week in the summer, spring, and fall.
That's why you're so jacked, dude. You got the
wakeboard, all the water activities. I mean, part of the reason why I did move to Florida is because I consider myself to be a fish.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
So if you want to get up on a great lake, you're only, 2.5 hours from
Erie, right?
Lake Erie.
You go to Lake Erie pretty often too, and I think
I do.
One of the biggest things that I talk about Columbus with is its proximity, right? If you're in Cincinnati, it's going to take you a lot longer to get to Cleveland. If you're in Cleveland, it's going to take you a lot longer to get everywhere else, right? So it's because since Columbus is so centrally located, you have a lot of proximity plays too.
You do,
that I think is super cool.
And I think Columbus, you're within driving distance,
Still like
which is crazy. I mean, and Ohioans love to drive. So if you want to hop in the car in the morning,
to Florida, dude.
Yeah, that's true. And Hilton Head. I don't know if you know, but Hilton Head is like the second Ohio that's on the coast. If you go to Hilton Head, there's a 99% chance that you will run into multiple Ohioans.
It's like someone from Pittsburgh. It's like, oh, you're from Pittsburgh?
Yeah, it's you'll find Ohioans everywhere.
Okay, let's talk about the negative side of things too, right? Like obviously we both been here. I've talked about the traffic, the congestion, more out-of-staters moving here, which is going to drive up the home prices a little bit. What do you think we need to do, maybe from an infrastructural standpoint? What do people that are moving here need to kind of know about Columbus even prior to making that journey?
Yeah, I think it's just being patient. Patience is a virtue. It goes a long way. And I think the city of Columbus and, those who are running the show, the money that's being poured into here, I think it's going to all come to fruition within the next couple of years. And you're going to really see the city come around, and it's going to be easier to navigate. It's going to be easier to communicate. And I think it's just the patience of just people giving it time to let the growth happen and the development around. And once that kind of starts to slow down with, years from now, I think this is going to be a massive player in the United States.
What I'm seeing is a lot of individuals kind of from an investment perspective are looking to make Columbus home, right? I've gotten a lot of reach outs from clients from YouTube that are, hey, I want to invest in Columbus. I want to buy a multifamily. I'm looking at hotels, the whole shebang. And even first-time investors that are like, Columbus is the rent rolls, the numbers, the BOP, it just all makes sense. And that's kind of why I'm coming here. So it's not just first-time home buyers, it's not just people looking to retire, but I also think it's people kind of looking to stretch their dollar and make that money's worth.
Yeah, Columbus is a still relatively affordable city.
100%.
And you're gonna get all the amenities. You're gonna get the, Fortune 500 companies that are pouring in money into the city. You're gonna find that all here, but it's still on the affordability side of things. Now, who knows 5, 10, 15 years from now,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's, only going to go up because of the growth that's happening here. But, you're only 5 hours from Chicago.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You're not far from New York City.
Yeah.
And the weather here is better than both those places. Even though people like to hate on it, it's not all bad. Just look at today.
It's beautiful today. It's 90 degrees outside. We're walking in this weather, right? One of the biggest things that I think about in terms of what's happening with Columbus is it's not the fact that the price of Columbus is growing. It's the fact that everywhere is expensive, right? The median cost of a home all across, dude, it's like $450,000. Columbus is still around $300,000. We're $150,000 less than the median. And I think that's absolutely crazy. So a lot of clients that are moving here, they've already got jobs. They've got places that they're looking at. They've got maybe a location in mind. Now, when you're thinking about it from maybe a perspective of, listen, I want to make sure that I have friends. I want to make sure that I have amenities. What do you think that people should be looking at if that's the case?
Getting involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes for anywhere, but there's a lot of ways to get involved into the neighborhoods that you eventually move into if you are relocating to Columbus. And going to the local events, especially, this time of year, all the suburbs, including downtown Columbus, they're all putting on events every weekend, live music, movie showings, outdoor games, you name it. And if you show up to a couple of those, you'll start to see people and get familiar with them on a weekly basis. And you will absolutely, feel that real sense of community here in the city of Columbus.
Proximity is power. That's what they say. Listen, final thoughts for someone moving here. Who should they call? Wink, wink. Where should they look at? What do they need to know?
No, just know that Columbus is great. And, I don't think you're going to be happy with the choices you make. Whether you're moving from one spot of the city to the next, or if you're relocating from one of those bigger cities to Columbus, Ohio.
Absolutely. Awesome, brother. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.